Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to browse so I know where to put it. So I always want to make sure I put it in my secure location or thaw space for you guys, etc. So I'm going to go make a new folder, and I'm just going to call this new folder Premiere Demo. I told it to make a folder. There we go. So it's going to go inside this folder, select folder. How many of you guys have done that before already? Isaiah, make sure you're watching and listening. You don't know everything. Can you unplug us your headphones, please? We're doing a demo. Take off your headphones, please. Great. Be listening. Be courteous. So I've got the thing saved. I should give it a name. I'm just going to call it Premiere Demo. You guys are going to do this with your interviews. So the first thing I got to do when I get this thing open is I need to, hopefully I'm recording. Let's see. Okay, so ask me a question I understand. So now I want to find my my source monitors here. Down here I've got my project panel. There it is, project. That's where my files are going to go. So there's a couple ways to get stuff in there. You can right click and choose import. You can choose file and import somewhere here. Maybe there it is, import. It'll open up this dialog. Or my favorite is just drag and drop. So if I go find some content that you guys have given me, I'm just going to grab some random material out of the footage folder. Here's Guitar Club, and I'm just going to grab all this content and drop it in there. You can also drop in entire folders in the same way. So when I get over here, you can see it's importing. So I'm going to get these two folders and drag and drop them, and it'll maintain the folders once I bring them in. So importing all the stuff. So you can quickly and easily import everything and maintain some organization, which is important. Okay, so let's bring it all in. It's taking its time. Now what I see here is, over here is my source. There's a couple of panels you can do with each one, and our goal is to be able to create effective editing, and you guys need to get quick at editing, because an interview, once you get an interview done, you want to be able to edit it quickly. So still people are taking forever to edit stuff, and we want to get quicker at this. So if I double click on this, it's going to open up here in the source panel. So there's an interview. Now right now I have no sequence. If I had a sequence, it would show up in my project panel, but I don't have one yet. So if I just drag footage over here, it's going to make a sequence with the exact same settings as the content. So this is exactly the same size. One criticism I've had lately is that some of our composition has not been great. If he's looking towards the inside of the picture, we actually want to move him over. So consider getting a wider shot or something to get those shots in there. Now if we're working through this, let's see what we find. Yeah, I can't hear anything actually. So let's bring this up. Huh. Now for reasons I'm not sure, I can't understand, I can't hear what he's saying. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, okay, this opening part, we're going to cut it out. There's a couple of ways we can cut things. You can actually just drag the beginning of this and trim it that way. You can grab the razor tool and have it snap right on that position there. Once I do that, I get the razor tool is C, is a shortcut. This one is V, so the selection tool, and I can drag select both of those pieces, then get everything and move it over. Now right now, those two are connected. They're like not going to come loose from each other. So let me trim this down a little bit more. So I want to cut this down as if I was editing an interview, because they never say everything perfect, and we want to cut out the gaps, cut out the questions, so they sound like they're having a brilliant conversation. So I'm going to cut some stuff out. Let's just cut some things out here. And I'm going to cut out all the uhs and the ahs. And we're going to wind up with a bunch of jump cuts. A jump cut, I'll show you what it looks like, is when you cut something out, but you didn't cover up the edit. So let's get the selection tool again. Let's remove all those gaps I just took out. So now I got this. Now there may be a faster way to remove those gaps. Seems like there's a command somewhere to clear the gaps. Here we go, close gap. So close gap, let's see if that works. There we go, that was quick and easy. So remember that when you're doing your editing, that sequence, close gap, I didn't know where it was, but sequence made sense to me because it's within the sequence. And that was a quick and easy thing. Otherwise, how would I have done that? Well, you've probably done this before. Select all the stuff, move it over, select more stuff, move it over. And what a pain about that is, when really not too bad, but if you just choose close gap, you got this. Now, what I want to do next is get some B-roll in there. So to cover up my gap, let's see what that looks like without the B-roll. Let's see if we can see the cuts. So they're not real obvious because they're little small gaps I took out, but the microphone moves around kind of weird. When you're holding the mic, hold it still. Don't wave it around. So it's distracting. We want to make sure we're staying focused on the person. So let's just pretend like the gap. Let's take one of these out. Let's take this one out and see if that changes our work much. Sequence, close gap. So let's try it again. And we haven't taken out one of the pieces. His eyes move around, so you can barely see it, but we can, if you're paying attention, you totally see the jump cuts. So to cover those up, that's where we come in with these. So I'm going to find some stuff, and here's a guy playing guitar. Here's another way to edit. If you want to edit in the source panel before you bring it in the timeline, go, okay, I know I want a piece that's about 5 seconds long. Doesn't matter too much what it is. I'm going to grab this. Here's the endpoint. So mark in is there, or I for endpoint. You go over here and you say this one, mark O for out point. Now this tells me it's now 2 seconds. 2 seconds is kind of short, so I'm going to bring this over here and O for out point. Now it's, let's see, this still didn't work. Let's click there for out point. Can I move this? I can move this. So I can change the size of the clip. There's about 3.5 seconds and drag that into place, and that's actually way longer than I wanted. I just want to cover out that one piece. But now he talks, and we see this. Now here's a problem. We have 2 pieces of media with different sizes. I don't know if one's shot with an iPhone or quite what happened. No big deal. Take this piece, go to your effect controls, and you can choose scale. Now you may have some issues with quality and resolution, but now while I can hear this guy, he talks, and then we cut to the dude. Maybe we'll trim this back so it's a little bit less. You can actually trim it right at the beginning of the next cut. And then we come back. So I can bring this back to here a little bit more. So only trying to cover the jump cut, the cuts. You don't have to precede the cut with it. You can start the cut with it. Now, if I don't want the sound from here, or let's say I do want the sound, but I don't want it so loud. If I click on this and I choose somewhere here's volume here, and I can choose level and drag this over left. So that'll change the volume. You can also keyframe that by adding keyframes here and altering levels. Now if we check this out, if I want to really work with the volume a little more effectively, let's increase this. Let's zoom in on the timeline a bit this way. So here's my sound piece that's in there, and if you let's see, there's a volume piece in there. There's a line right there. If I drag this line up or down, that drags the whole thing down or up. So I crank it up, crank it down. So that's good to do. That's good to know. And it affects the same setting that's over here. Now, if I want to start with it loud, but quiet it down and then come back loud, what I can do is zoom in on the clip a little bit, and I can go back here. I can click on the new keyframe there. I'm going to add another keyframe right here, so it's going to change the volume. Let's go over here, add the keyframe, go right here, add the keyframe, and then I can take this middle piece and just reduce it. And it's going to fade in or fade out, stay in the backgrounds, and then fade back up again. So that gives you some control over the sound of your B-roll. And you can actually take the B-roll out entirely. So if you want to remove the B-roll entirely, then you click on this, you say right click, you say unlink, and now those two are no longer linked. You can slide one independent of the other. You got to be careful about that, but you can actually just do that to remove the entire thing. Now you probably want this, since there's a guy playing the guitar in the background, you probably want to hear some of it, but that's how you do your B-roll. So when you're doing your editing, there are several options for how to get it done. Drag stuff into place, slice and dice, use your razor blade tool, the cutter, C for cutter, V for the selection tool. You can do this back and forth. I can even double click this and change its footage size over here. So if I grab this and make it shorter, it shortens over here as well. So there's lots of ways to edit, and again, you want to sort of be urgent about your edits because you want to get back out there and get more media, get more material. So I think we have lots of pieces going on. I wanted to check in today on